Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Monica. I like to post anti-MLM and some life content here on this channel. In today's video, I'm going to be, kind of having a little bit of a story time. I mentioned this in one of my previous videos talking about how I would like to eventually talk about it on my channel, and I think today is the day that I'm just gonna have a casual chat because I didn't feel like doing my hair and makeup like I usually do, and I just wanted to have a little casual chat. So, I have a lot of stories in my life, but this one is by far the most annoying one, or one of the most annoying ones that I have ever had to even experience, let alone talk about. In one of my previous videos, I talked about how I have been in 2 car accidents in under a year. Neither of them were my fault. And it was almost exactly the same accident. And it's the reason why I got the car that I currently have. So let's just go over this entire story. I, for the first time, decided to go out and buy a car. It was all in my name, no cosigner, no nothing. And I was really, really, really excited because when I first started driving, I learned how to drive on a manual car, and I have had manual cars ever since then, except for there was a 2-year break in there where I actually had an automatic. I was really annoyed. I was really sick and tired of it. I was bored and I wanted to get a car that was a manual. So I decided to start going car shopping. I found a car. It was a Volvo C70, and I always had a love for a Volvo. Now, I know that it's not like your typical car enthusiast type of a car or anything like that, but I just always loved Volvo. They always had a really good reputation. My parents have had 3 Volvos so far, so I figured, why not look at Volvos? I found one that was all black, it was a convertible, and it was manual. And it was in my price range. So I decided that I'm gonna buy this car. I was determined to buy this car. So I had the car and I was really close to being able to pay it off. And the payments were really great on it. I got a really great deal with the payments and everything, but in September of 2015, September 22nd of 2015 to be exact. Now I remember that day because that is my fiance's dad's birthday, and there's a reason why I remember it. Well, at the time, I had signed up for these dancing classes that were right down the road from where I was working, and I was on my way home because it was my fiance's dad's birthday, and we were going over to his parents' house to have dinner with everybody. And on my way home, I was on, if you guys are from Jersey, you might know where all of this is, but I was on Route 15, right in Jefferson. It was technically Jefferson. There's an intersection there. It was really, really dark outside, and it was a red light. Now, this wasn't like a blind turn or a blind light or stop sign intersection, whatever. It's clear as day when you see a red light, especially when it's dark outside. So I'm at the stoplight. The car behind me, I see headlights coming, and I see them coming really fast. And so I'm thinking in my head, oh my God, this person's gonna hit me. It's just inevitable. They're gonna hit me. They're going way too fast to be able to stop last second. They hit me. They completely went underneath my car, lifted the back end of my car, and completely demolished the back end. It was so bad. It looked so bad. And I had never been in an accident like this before. I've been in car accidents before, but nothing like this. So I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I don't remember everything because I was in shock a little bit, so I don't remember everything. But all I remember is calling my fiance and telling him, hey babe, I'm really sorry, but I won't be able to make it to your dad's birthday party because I just got into a car accident. And I remember saying, I don't feel anything. I feel numb, and I don't know what's happening. So he said, did you call 911 yet? And I said, no. So then I called 911 because I was in shock. This has never happened to me before, so I just didn't, it didn't register in my head what just happened. So I called 911, and then after that I called my dad. And because I was a lot closer to home rather than where my fiance was working, because we were working about 45 minutes away from home. So I'd call my dad because he was much closer. He'd be able to get to the scene of the accident faster. So I called my dad and I said, "Hey Dad, I just got into a really bad car accident. I can't get out of the car. I can't feel anything. I'm numb." And so of course my dad came to the scene of the accident. And I remember opening the door and trying to get out, but then my body completely failed me, and it was almost as if my body just said, no, this is not happening. You're not getting out of this car. And, so I just stayed in the car. The police, fire department, EMTs, everyone came like really, really fast. So I do have to say, if anyone from Jefferson Township in New Jersey is watching this video, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. You guys gave me a peace of mind, and I really felt like I was being taken care of. Well, the EMTs come in, and the one girl, she comes in the back and she's holding my neck, and she was talking to me. All I remember was she said something along the lines of like, oh, because she saw I had a sticker on my car that was the Polish flag, because you guys know I'm Polish. And so she was talking to me about that, and I guess just trying to get me to calm down a little bit and, not really pay attention to what's going on. Then the male EMT comes over, and he's talking to me, asking me questions. What's my name? How old am I? Do I have my license with me so that they can check all of my records? All that kind of stuff. And I was a little out of it. I remembered my name and I remembered how old I was, but I didn't really remember much of anything else. I don't know if I blacked out at any point or not. I'm assuming that that's probably what happened because I was in shock. They removed me from my car. My dad had already arrived at the scene by this point, but I didn't know because they weren't letting my dad come see me because they were trying to get me on the stretcher to get into the ambulance. So when I get out of my car and I'm put on the stretcher, I have like that big neck brace on and everything because I couldn't feel it. So they were worried that, I broke something or nerve damage or something, because this car, no joke, you guys, this car, it pushed me into the intersection. I was at a full stop and this car pushed me into the intersection. So that should tell you just how fast this car was going. So they bring me to the emergency room. Before I get in the ambulance, I hear my dad saying, "I'll take care of everything. I'll call the insurance company for you, blah, blah, blah." So I'm sitting in this emergency room, and they actually put me in my own little room. I have nurses come over, ask me if I'm okay. And at this point, I had to go to the bathroom. I had to go number one. So I told the nurses that came in, "Hey, listen, I need to use the bathroom. Can someone help me?" Because I couldn't get up. I was in bed. I couldn't lift anything. I was afraid to do anything. So the nurses were like, "Yeah, we'll get someone to bring you a bedpan." Then the doctor comes in. No one came in with a bedpan, okay? Then the doctor comes in, and at this point, this is already 20 minutes later. So I'm already doing the I'm gonna pee my pants dance while I'm laying down. So the doctor comes in. She says the same thing. "We'll get someone to come in here and, bring you a bedpan." Another 20 minutes goes by. Another team of nurses comes in. And I told them the same thing. "Hey, are you guys here with the bedpan? Because I really have to go to the bathroom." "Yeah, we'll send someone in." By this point, I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to lose my dignity in this hospital bed. I can't hold it anymore. It hurts so bad. I'm going to have to pee the bed. This is going to happen. Then I see a police officer walking by my room. And this just shows you how dramatic I was at this point in time, because at this point in time, my dad was still at the scene of the accident and he was going to go pick up my mom to come to the hospital. My fiance had to leave work to come to the hospital, and everything's kind of far away from each other. So everything was kind of out of the way for everybody. So I was still by myself in this hospital bed. And I see this police officer walking by, and I start screaming, officer, please help me. Being so dramatic, he comes in, ma'am, oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, I know that this isn't your job, but no one is coming to help me. Can you please get someone to come in here and bring a bedpan? I asked them over an hour ago. I'm going to lose my dignity in this bed. He was such a sweetheart. I don't know what town he was from, so I can't even give a shout out to the town, but he walks out of my room and goes to the nurse's station. Who is in charge? This girl needs to use the bathroom. No one has come to her for like an hour. So finally someone comes with a bedpan. I love how it takes a police officer in a hospital to, do this. So they bring the bedpan in, and by this point, I want to say about 10-15 minutes later, my parents had showed up. So we're all sitting, we're waiting for the doctor, and we knew that they were prolonging my stay there so that they can charge me extra for the room. So I'm sitting in bed, and my parents are talking to me. At this point I had already calmed down, like I wasn't in shock anymore. At this point I was fully coherent. My fiance shows up about 10 minutes after my parents did. We're all sitting there, we're making jokes. My fiance's playing with all the stuff in the room because he's a weirdo and can't sit still for 5 minutes. Actually, not even a minute. And finally the doctor comes in, they're talking to me, they're talking to my parents, and they leave. I waited another, hour and a half. So by this point, I had already been in the hospital for, I want to say, maybe 3 hours, 3.5 hours before, I forget if it was my fiance or my dad. They went up to the nurse's station and they were like, hey, did you forget about her? Because there's no one else in this emergency room and she's been laying here for the past couple hours. Once they did that, I don't know if they did forget that I was there, but once they did that, they brought me in and they did the scans and everything like that. And I think that they were, not to be like a conspiracy theory type of a person or anything like that. I love a good conspiracy theory, but not to be dramatic about it, or I guess you could say paranoid or whatever. But I really do think they were holding me so that they can charge me that extra night because it was getting really close towards midnight. I signed the papers releasing me, I think at 11:58 is when I signed the papers. So I really truly think that they were trying to hold me for an extra so that they could charge me. Because if y'all have ever been to the emergency room, it's a lot of money, okay? It was over $1,000 just to sit in that emergency room. It was just, anyway. Needless to say, I had a ton of medical bills after that because I had to go to the doctor. They charged me for the ambulance. They charged me for the hospital stay. All of that stuff, right? I tried to go after the person's insurance and tell them, hey, I don't care about, obviously the car, everything's going through the car insurance. I get that. But I have a lot of medical bills now that I cannot afford. This is not my fault that your person hit me at full force. If anything, I might have actually saved their lives because they would have gone straight through the intersection. And that can be a dangerous intersection if you just go straight through it. Well, because I didn't know this until this accident, because New Jersey is a no-fault state, they told me that I have to pay for all of my health related bills by myself, that the insurance does not cover it, it's not under that, all this nonsense. I even went to a lawyer. The lawyer told me the same exact thing, so it's not like I'm just making this up. I did go see lawyers. Well, I decided, okay, I'm just gonna tough it out. I had whiplash and I forget what else, but it was like really, really bad whiplash. When people say they feel that they got hit by a bus, it's no joke. I felt like I got hit by a bus. I couldn't move. Everything was painful. I was out of work for 2 days, I believe it was, and my car had been towed in. And because it was a hardtop convertible, after that accident, no matter how many times they tried to fix this car, that hardtop never, ever worked the same again. So I never used my convertible ever again. Basically, like that whole, you know, taking it down and blah, 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 driving with your hair kind of going in the wind and all that. No, that stopped after that accident. Well, I was going back and forth with all the insurance companies for all of those months. Then we get to September 13th of 2016. The same, well, not the same, but a similar accident happens, okay? I'm in, if you're from New Jersey, you know that Route 80 in the morning during rush hour is one of the worst things ever. I'm sitting in traffic on Route 80, and I notice that the car behind me, because after my first accident, I'm very, very careful of watching people behind me. I noticed that he's swerving a little bit, and it was a big Mercedes Sprinter van. I noticed that he's swerving a little bit, and then I noticed that he's holding his phone up like this, because at one point we were all at a dead stop, and I see him going like this, and then I see him like slowly inching while he's like going like this, right, on his phone. Then we start moving, and we start driving a significant speed. I would say we probably got up to like, I don't know, 40, 50 miles an hour or something like that. But you have to watch yourself during rush hour because, yeah, it might be 40, 50 miles per hour and then boom, dead stop. So you really have to pay attention. Well, I noticed that this car was not paying attention, and I had put on my blinker to merge into the other lane, but there was no room for me to merge. As soon as there was enough room for me to merge, because someone had actually slowed down to let me go in, boom, the Mercedes Sprinter van smashed into my car so hard that it sandwiched me between the Mercedes and then the car in front of me. Legit, like my car just, it was done, okay? At this point, I was so angry because I almost made it an entire year. It was just 9 days short of the anniversary. I almost made it an entire year. The guy comes out, and I'm in the car, and at this point, I'm just so mad that I went into a shock again, but I just remember this feeling of anger, just so mad that this happened again. So of course, I'm like really just filled with anger at this point. The guy comes up to my window and he asked me if I'm okay, and I was like, get the F away from me. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, my car is going to be totaled this time, because if it's going to cost how much it cost last time, it's going to cost even more because the front and the back are messed up now. And it's going to be more than the cost of the car. And I was like, they're going to total my car. I already know this. They're going to total my car. I was just so angry at that point in time. Well, finally, when I calmed down, we all took each other's insurance information and whatnot, and phone numbers, that sort of thing. Well, when the cop showed up, I didn't want to wait because it was going to take, I think the tow company said it was going to take them 2 hours to come pick up my car. I'm not about to be sitting on the side of Route 80 for 2 hours like that. No, that's not going to happen. So I was talking to the cop, and he was like, well, you know, you should be fine to drive home. And I was like, officer, no disrespect or anything, but do you see what my car looks like? I had no taillights, there were no brake lights, the front end was completely falling apart. His response, well, I'll help you put everything in the back part of your car so you can drive it home. So I'm thinking in my head like, okay, sure, I guess. I almost got into an accident on the way home because someone was not paying attention and didn't see that I was slowing down. They almost like went right into my car again. So I was like, okay, finally I get home, park the car, and the tow company comes and picks up the car. So, you know, of course, everything was all fine and dandy. Well, then I get a phone call from the Mercedes Sprinter van that hit me. The woman on the other side of the phone, she said that she was someone high-ranking in the company or something like that, because it was a company car. She had the audacity to ask me to not file through insurance. And I was like, well, I already filed through insurance. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Well, can you maybe call them up and we can settle this outside of insurance? And I asked her, I was like, why? Why would I go outside of insurance? My car is going to be totaled. I know that my car is going to be totaled. So she proceeds to say, well, we'll pay for the repairs on your car if you go to your insurance company and tell them. And I was like, no, because I already have to go through insurance, because I technically, even though my car was pushed into the car in front of me, I technically went into another car. So it has to go through insurance because that person is now involved too. Well, the reason why we're calling is because, the person that was driving the car wasn't supposed to be driving the car. So I told her, ma'am, that's not my problem. I'm sorry, but that's not my problem. If he wasn't supposed to be driving the car, he shouldn't have been driving the car. I don't know how he got away with it with the cops. I don't know what the backstory was to that whole situation. I really don't. Because I don't know if maybe his license had expired or if he was on like some kind of probation with the company. I don't know. But she was really, really pushing for me to not go through insurance. And she kept calling me like on a daily basis. And I told her, I was like, ma'am, I'm really sorry, but it's already gone through insurance. I'm already, going through the whole entire process. Like, my car was totaled. At this point, my car had already been determined that it was going to be totaled, and it was already official. I had already gone to the car. I cried in my car because I love that car. I had such an attachment to that car. But it was totaled. And my insurance would only pay for a rental for another day. It was Friday. I had to find a car Friday night to Saturday afternoon because car dealerships are closed on Sundays. So that's another thing that I had to worry about. Well, I ended up finding a car. I found my Subaru WRX. I wanted to stay with a safe car because, Subarus and Volvos are known for being safe. And I also wanted a fun car. I was like, you know what? I want a fun car. I want a car that I'm going to be able to have a good time in. I want it to be manual. I don't want to settle. I'm not going to settle. And we ended up coming across this car, and it was great because it's all-wheel drive. If you've been watching me for a while, you know that I'm originally from New Jersey. We get a lot of snow up there, so it was a perfect car for up there. It gets even better. I had gotten the day before, on September 21st, 2016. Remember the accident the year before that was on September 22nd? The one that they wouldn't pay for my medical bills or anything like that? Well, I get a letter on September 21st saying that I'm being sued by a passenger that was in that car. So I called my insurance company. They ended up taking care of it. It's all taken care of now. But I didn't know that apparently this is what people do. If they can't get money from the person that was driving the car, they'll try to go after the innocent person that was in the other car that person hit. So meanwhile, I'm here trying to get them to pay for my health expenses, but someone's able to sue me. It made me so mad because I went to a lawyer and I tried to get someone to pay for my medical bills. So I went to physical therapy. I was in physical therapy for months. My back still hurts. There's nothing they can do. They ran all of the scans and tests and everything like that. They have no idea. They have no freaking clue what happened to me. They have no clue. But after that happened, I went through physical therapy. I'm terrified. When someone is too close behind me, it's like I get flashbacks and I keep thinking like, this person's gonna hit me. I'm gonna get into an accident. It's gonna be a whole entire thing all over again. And New Jersey really needs to get on their whole no-fault state bullshit because that is the reason why I had to pay for my own stuff. And I don't think that I should have to. I think that if someone hits me, they're responsible. They should be held responsible for not just the car, but the person that was involved in the accident. And I remember going to the lawyer and asking them like, hey, is there anything that we can do? And they said no, because since you didn't break anything, you weren't pregnant at the time, and it wasn't like it wasn't a big thing that happened, you know, you weren't in the hospital for days or anything like that. They were like, there's nothing we can do. Which was so freaking frustrating. Y'all have no idea. I was so annoyed. These situations just... this is why I get so annoyed when I talk about it, because it's an annoying thing to talk about. Like, how was this? I don't get it. I don't get it. But that was my story today. Thank you for listening to me ramble and rant and vent about these two specific events that happened in my life. And make sure that you drive safely out there, and make sure that you're always paying attention to not just the person in front of you or just, you know, yourself. Make sure that you're paying attention to every single person that's surrounding you. And if you see someone swerving, try to move into another lane like ASAP. Don't just, you know, I don't even know what kind of advice to give, only because both situations were out of my control. There was nothing I could do in either situation. But I guess just get off your cell phones. Don't text and drive, please. Pay attention to the road, because that person hit me because they were texting and driving. It could have ended way worse than that, because a Mercedes Sprinter van hitting a Volvo C70 is a big deal. That should never happen, especially if you're driving a company car. Get off your phone, okay? But anyway, I guess that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure to like, dislike, subscribe, support me on Patreon, all that good stuff. Follow me on social media, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Monica reporting to you live from a highway. Bye!